In a quiet small Georgia town, a young girl vanished without a trace while playing in her grandmother's garden, leaving her mother and the authorities desperately searching for answers. The child's disappearance haunted the once peaceful community, with residents struggling to believe such a tragedy could happen in their midst. Yet one day, after over 2 months with no clues, a park janitor discovered a crucial detail that would change the entire case in ways no one could have imagined. Before we dive into this shocking story, let us set the stage with a recounting of events that led to this turning point. Under the warm Georgia sun, which began to dip low in the sky, Olivia Turner's car pulled in the driveway of her modest single-story home in Elder Fork. The 36-year-old African-American woman sat behind the wheel for a moment, her hands gripping the steering wheel tightly as she took a deep breath. It was Tuesday, May 12th, and she had just returned from yet another fruitless visit to the police station. As she stepped out of the car, the weight of the past 2 months seemed to press down on her shoulders. 2 months of relentless searching, sleepless nights, and hope that flickered like a candle in the wind since her 9-year-old daughter, Sophia, had vanished without a trace. Olivia fumbled with her keys, her fingers trembling slightly as she unlocked the front door of a house that once echoed with Sophia's laughter but now felt cavernous and empty. Her eyes immediately fell on Sophia's colorful backpack, still hanging by the door where her daughter had left it on that fateful day, a sight that sent a sharp pain through Olivia's heart as it reminded her of the life abruptly interrupted. Moving further into the living room, her gaze was drawn to the couch where Sophia's favorite stuffed elephant sat, untouched. Olivia vividly recalled how Sophia would cuddle with it while watching cartoons, her infectious giggles filling the room. Now, the silence was deafening. With a heavy sigh, Olivia dropped her purse on the kitchen counter, causing a stack of freshly printed missing person flyers to slide out. Each flyer featured Sophia's bright smile, her dark eyes twinkling with mischief and joy. Olivia traced her finger over her daughter's face on the paper, willing the image to come to life once more as the events of March 12th played through her mind again and again. That day had begun like any other. Olivia had dropped Sophia off at her grandmother Eloise's house before heading to work, and while Sophia was playing in the backyard as Eloise prepared lunch inside, a brief moment, just long enough for Eloise to answer a phone call, was all it took for Sophia to simply vanish. The police were called immediately. They combed through the neighborhood, interviewed everyone within a 5-mile radius, and yet found absolutely nothing, as if Sophia had vanished in a thin air, leaving no trace behind. Olivia moved to the kitchen, her body operating on autopilot as she filled the kettle and set on the stove. Making tea had become a ritual, a small act that provided a semblance of normalcy in a world turned upside down. As she waited for the water to boil, the words of Detective Thompson from earlier that day echoed in her mind. "We're still looking, Mrs. Turner," although the unspoken implication lingered that perhaps it was time to accept that Sophia might never be found. But Olivia refused to accept that possibility. As long as there was breath in her body, she would keep searching, keep hoping, and keep fighting to bring her little girl home. The kettle whistled suddenly, startling Olivia out of her thoughts. She poured the hot water over a tea bag, watching as the color slowly seeped into the water, and with that simple act, she made a silent promise to Sophia. "Wherever you may be, I will find you, baby girl. No matter what it takes, I will bring you home." Clutching her steaming cup of tea, Olivia carried it to the kitchen table where her laptop awaited her. With a deep breath, she settled in her chair and logged into the Find Sophia Turner Facebook page she had created 2 months ago, a page that now boasted over 3,000 followers. The outpouring of support from the tight-knit community of Elder Fork and the surrounding areas had been overwhelming. As Olivia scrolled through the page, her eyes skimmed over countless messages of encouragement and hope. Local businesses had shared her posts, offering their windows and bulletin boards for flyers. Strangers had organized search parties to comb through areas the police had already searched, hoping to find something, anything, that might lead to Sophia. While reading through the comments on her latest update, a new message notification appeared, making her heart skip a beat as it did every time she received a message that might be the breakthrough she so desperately needed. She clicked on the notification and found a message from a man named Gregory Adams. His profile picture showed a middle-aged white man with kind eyes and graying hair. The message read, "I think I found something that might belong to your daughter. A pink necklace with beads and a heart pendant. I tried calling several times, but couldn't reach you." Olivia's hands began to shake as she quickly navigated back to her most recent post, which had detailed Sophia's description, including a mention of her favorite necklace. A pink beaded necklace with a heart pendant that Olivia had specially ordered for her birthday. In the comment section of that post, there was another message from Gregory stating, "I believe I've seen this necklace at Memorial Park. It's still there as of this afternoon." With trembling fingers, Olivia checked her call history and, sure enough, saw 3 missed calls from an unknown number within the past 2 hours. How had she missed them? She had been so vigilant about answering every call, terrified of missing that one crucial piece of information that could lead her to Sophia. A surge of hope coursed through Olivia, tempered with caution. She had received false leads before, well-meaning people who were mistaken, or worse, cruel pranksters who found amusement in a mother's desperation. Each false lead had been crushing. Yet, she could not ignore this possibility, even if it turned out to be nothing. Sophia's life could depend on following up every possible lead. Taking a deep breath to steady her nerves, Olivia picked up her phone and pressed the call button. The phone rang twice before a man's voice answered. "Hello." Her heart racing, Olivia introduced herself. "This is Olivia Turner. I received a message about a necklace you found." "Yes, Mrs. Turner," replied the man in a gentle but direct tone. "I am Gregory Adams. I've been the janitor and groundskeeper at Memorial Park for the past 15 years. Olivia listened intently as Gregory explained how he had noticed the necklace earlier that day while cleaning near the central statue. "When I saw this pink beaded necklace with a heart pendant hanging from the statue's outstretched hand," he said, his voice growing more animated as he continued, "I remembered seeing your Facebook posts about your missing daughter and the distinctive necklace you mentioned. That is why it caught my attention." Olivia's grip on the phone tightened with hope and anxiety as she wondered, could this really be Sophia's necklace? How did it end up in the park? Her mind raced with unsettling possibilities. Gregory admitted, "I wasn't completely certain it was the same necklace. I didn't want to remove it in case it was evidence. So I tried calling you while I continued my work at the park." Urgently, Olivia asked, "Is the necklace still there?" Already reaching for her car keys, she listened as Gregory confirmed, "Yes, it is. I've been keeping an eye on it to make sure no one takes it." A rush of gratitude filled Olivia's heart toward this stranger who had gone out of his way to help. Curious about his decision to contact her first rather than the police, Olivia inquired, "Why didn't you contact the police directly?" Gregory's voice took on an apologetic tone as he explained, "I wanted to check with you first to confirm if it might actually be Sophia's necklace. I didn't want to potentially waste police resources if it turned out to be nothing." Although Olivia understood his reasoning, every moment now felt crucial. "I'm coming to the park right away," she said, her voice tense with urgency. "Can you wait there until I arrive?" Gregory readily agreed, adding that he would be near the central fountain statue where the necklace was located. After ending the call, Olivia felt a mix of hope and anxiety churning in her stomach. This could be the breakthrough she had been praying for, the first real lead in 2 agonizing months. However, she knew she had to remain calm and methodical. Quickly, she dialed Detective Thompson's number as she hurried to her car. When the call went to voicemail, she left a brief message explaining the situation and that she was heading to Memorial Park. The drive to the park felt both excruciatingly long and alarmingly short as Olivia's mind raced with possibilities. If this was indeed Sophia's necklace, how had it ended up in the park? Was Sophia trying to leave a clue, or had something far more sinister occurred? Pulling into the parking lot, Olivia took a deep breath to steel herself for whatever she might find. She stepped out of her car and scanned the park for Gregory. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the grass, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the old oak trees scattered throughout the park. Soon, she spotted a figure standing near the central area, a man in a gray maintenance uniform with Memorial Park staff embroidered on the chest pocket. As she approached, his concerned expression softened into one of recognition. For a brief moment, Olivia had feared that this might be a cruel prank with no one actually there waiting. However, seeing Gregory standing respectfully by the statue sparked a flicker of hope. With her heart pounding and a mixture of hope and trepidation, Olivia quickened her pace and approached him. "Mrs. Turner," Gregory greeted in a gentle, respectful tone, and Olivia managed to nod in response, taking a deep breath to steady herself before replying, "Yes, I'm Olivia Turner." "Thank you for waiting, Mr. Adams." Gregory's kind eyes crinkled with concern as he said, "Of course, I can only imagine how difficult this must be for you." He then led her toward the bronze statue of Elder Fork's founder, which stood about 8 feet tall in the center of the park, its arm extended outward in a welcoming gesture. As they approached, Olivia's breath caught in her throat when she saw the necklace delicately draped over the statue's outstretched hand. The pink glass beads gleamed in the late afternoon sunlight, and a familiar heart-shaped pendant hung from the center. In that moment, Olivia froze, her eyes fixed on the necklace. It was unmistakable, the distinctive pendant she had specially ordered from an artisan shop for Sophia's birthday. Yet seeing it here in such an unexpected place felt almost surreal. With trembling hands, Olivia stepped closer, absorbing every detail. The small chip on one of the beads from the moment Sophia had accidentally dropped it, and the tiny inscription "ST" on the back of the heart pendant that only a devoted mother could recognize. Her legs nearly gave out as the reality hit her. This was the first concrete evidence that Sophia had been in the park since her disappearance. It was as if someone had deliberately placed it there to be found. Gregory softly asked, "Is it your daughter's?" Watching Olivia's reaction, he continued, "I wasn't completely certain myself until I saw how you reacted." In a barely audible whisper, Olivia managed to say, "Yes, it's Sophia's. I'd recognize it anywhere." Though every fiber of her being longed to seize the necklace and hold a piece of her daughter close, Olivia recalled the countless conversations with the police over the past 2 months about the importance of preserving evidence. The necklace might hold fingerprints or other clues that could lead to finding Sophia. With shaking hands, she pulled out her phone and dialed 911. As the operator answered, she struggled to keep her voice steady while explaining, "I'm at Memorial Park. We found physical evidence connected to my missing daughter's case, her necklace." Standing nearby, Gregory offered quiet support, gently redirecting a curious jogger who had slowed down to admire the necklace and keeping the area clear. Within minutes, the sound of sirens filled the air. 2 police cars pulled up with flashing lights, and officers quickly approached the statue. Olivia recognized one of them as Officer Johnson, who had been involved in the initial search for Sophia. "Mrs. Turner," Officer Johnson said, his face serious but kind, "can you confirm this is your daughter's necklace?" Olivia nodded and carefully pointed out the distinctive features, the chipped bead and the inscription, as she did so. Soon, another car arrived, and Detective Thompson stepped out with a face set in grim determination. "Olivia," he said as he approached, "I got your message. This is potentially significant evidence. We're going to need to secure the area and process it carefully." As the officers began cordoning off the area with yellow tape, treating it as a potential crime scene, Olivia watched as a technician carefully retrieved the necklace and placed it gently in an evidence bag. Detective Thompson then turned to her, his voice gentle but firm. "We'll check for fingerprints and DNA, and we'll also review all security footage from nearby businesses to see if we can identify who placed the necklace there." Olivia nodded, her mind reeling after 2 months of nothing, for this small piece of jewelry represented the first real lead in finding Sophia. It was proof that her daughter had been in this park at some point since her disappearance. As she watched the officers work, a young policeman approached Detective Thompson in a low, urgent tone. Though Olivia couldn't make out every word, she saw the detective's expression change. His eyebrows lifted in surprise. Detective Thompson then said with a new intensity in his eyes, "Olivia, we may have something." The officer just informed me that they've already obtained security footage from Rosie's Cafe, located directly across from the park entrance. They found something significant from the day Sophia disappeared. Olivia's heart leaped into her throat at the possibility of this breakthrough. She silently prayed, "Please, let this lead us to Sophia. Let this bring my baby home." With her heart racing, she followed Detective Thompson to a police vehicle where a laptop had been set up. The screen displayed grainy yet clear footage from a security camera, with a timestamp indicating it was from March 12th, the day Sophia had vanished. "This is footage from Rosie's Cafe," Detective Thompson explained, his voice tense with anticipation. "Watch closely." Olivia leaned in, her eyes glued to the screen. At first, she saw only the usual foot traffic, people entering and leaving the cafe, others walking along the sidewalk. Then her breath caught in her throat as, in the background, a man wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses appeared. Beside him, holding an ice cream cone, was unmistakably Sophia. "Oh my God," Olivia whispered, her hand flying to her mouth. "That's her, my baby." Although the footage only showed the pair from behind as they entered the park, with the man's face obscured by his cap and sunglasses, his height, build, and distinctive walking pattern were clearly visible. Detective Thompson paused the video, his face grim, and said, "This is significant evidence, Olivia. It confirms that Sophia was taken to the park that day, likely by someone who deliberately disguised himself and knew how to avoid showing his face to security cameras." Olivia could not tear her eyes away from the frozen image of her daughter, so small next to the unknown man. But she wondered, why can't we see where they went in the park? How did the necklace end up on the statue? Detective Thompson explained, "Unfortunately, the cafe's camera doesn't cover that area of the park. We're going to canvass the area for any other cameras that might have caught them, but this is already a huge lead." His expression softened as he added, "We're going to release still images from this footage to local news stations and social media platforms, so someone might recognize the man by his build, clothing, or walking pattern." Olivia nodded, trying to process everything. After 2 months of nothing, they now had tangible evidence that Sophia was alive after leaving her grandmother's yard. Yet the sight of her daughter with an unknown man filled her with a mixture of hope and terror. "What happens now?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Detective Thompson's face was resolute as he responded, "We pursue this lead aggressively. We'll analyze every frame of this footage, check for any other cameras in the area that might have caught them, and put out an alert for anyone who might recognize the man." He paused, placing a comforting hand on Olivia's shoulder. "I know this is a lot to take in. We're going to need you to prepare for a difficult wait as we analyze all this new evidence. But I promise you we're not going to rest until we find Sophia." Olivia nodded, feeling simultaneously hopeful and frustrated. They now had more information than they'd had in 2 months, but still no clear path to finding her daughter. "I want to help," she said firmly. "I want to do whatever I can to find her." Detective Thompson looked at her with understanding and said, "The best thing you can do right now is to keep spreading the word, share the images we release, and talk to anyone who might have seen something." As they wrapped up at the scene, Detective Thompson provided Olivia with digital copies of the footage, promising, "I'll call the moment we have any updates." He explained that the necklace discovery might pressure the kidnapper into making a mistake, and that they were closer than they had ever been. Olivia clutched the USB drive containing the CCTV footage, feeling both hope and fear at its weight in her hand. It represented proof that Sophia had been alive in the park that day, as well as evidence of the danger she was in. As Olivia walked back to her car, her mind raced with plans. She would post the screenshots online, reach out to every contact she had made over the past 2 months, and do whatever it took to identify the man who had taken her daughter. The sun was setting as Olivia drove home, casting long shadows across the road. She glanced at the USB drive on the passenger seat, a mixture of determination and dread swirling within her. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain. She would not rest until Sophia was safe in her arms again. Once home, Olivia rushed her laptop with trembling fingers, inserted the USB drive containing the CCTV footage, and opened her Find Sophia Turner Facebook page. Her heart pounded as she prepared to share the most significant update in 2 months, adding screenshots that showed clear images of the man's build, clothing, and distinctive gait. She included a detailed description emphasizing his height, his walk, and the baseball cap and sunglasses he wore to conceal his face. As she typed, her emotions swung wildly between hope and fear. Seeing Sophia in the footage had been both a relief and a shock. At least for that day, her daughter was alive, even though she was now in the hands of someone who had gone to great lengths to hide his identity. Urgently, Olivia began her update. New evidence has been discovered in Sophia's case. These images show my daughter with an unknown man on the day she disappeared. If you recognize this man by his build, clothing, or the way he walks, please contact the police immediately. Any information, no matter how small, could be crucial in bringing Sophia home. She hit post and watched as the update instantly gained traction. Within minutes, the post had dozens of shares, and comments began pouring in from community members eager to help. Olivia stayed glued to her computer, responding to every message and comment, scanning desperately for any information that might be useful. Although many were well-meaning, some suggestions were unhelpful or expressed only sympathy. Yet she could not afford to overlook anything, knowing that even the smallest detail could be the breakthrough she had been praying for. Among the flood of responses, a comment caught her eye, one from a young couple claiming they had been in the park on the day Sophia disappeared. They said they had seen a man matching the description from the security footage walking with a little girl who looked distressed. With her heart racing, Olivia immediately sent them a private message, hoping this might be the breakthrough she needed. However, as she began communicating with them, her hope quickly turned to frustration and anger. Their story began to unravel, with details changing with each message. When Olivia pressed for more information, they suddenly demanded money in exchange for what they claimed was crucial evidence. With a heavy heart, Olivia realized that this was just another cruel scam attempt, one of many she had encountered over the past 2 months. The couple's profile was fake, filled with stolen photos and fabricated information. It was clear they were preying on her desperation, hoping to exploit a mother's anguish for financial gain. Fighting back tears of disappointment and rage, Olivia reported the profile to Facebook and blocked the users. Taking a deep breath, she tried to center herself, knowing that this wasn't the first time she had encountered such heartless deceit and likely wouldn't be the last. Still, she could not let these setbacks deter her. Somewhere out there, someone had real information that could lead to Sophia. She had to keep searching, keep hoping. As night fell, Olivia made herself cup after cup of strong coffee, determined to stay alert so she would not miss a crucial piece of information. Around midnight, as she was in the kitchen refilling her coffee mug, a sudden movement outside caught her eye. Glancing out the window, Olivia froze. Standing near her mailbox was an elderly woman, staring directly at her house. The woman was dressed in a dark coat despite the warm spring night, her silver hair gleaming in the moonlight. It was as if she were deliberately watching Olivia's home, her gaze fixed and unwavering. Olivia's heart raced. Was this someone who had information about Sophia, or was it something more sinister? As soon as the woman noticed Olivia looking back, she quickly turned away, pretending to be simply walking past. But Olivia was not fooled. The woman's behavior was too deliberate and too focused to be coincidental. Without thinking, Olivia rushed to her front door and stepped onto the porch. "Wait," she called out, her voice piercing the quiet night. "Please, I need to talk to you." But by the time Olivia reached the street, the mysterious figure had vanished into the darkness. The street was empty and silent, as if the woman had never been there at all. Shaken, Olivia retreated back in her house, double-checking all locks and windows, wondering whether the stress and exhaustion of the past 2 months had finally taken their toll, causing her to see threats where there were none. Yet she decided that she had definitely seen someone watching her house, and she wondered why and who this mysterious woman was. With trembling hands, Olivia picked up her phone and dialed Detective Thompson's number. Despite the late hour, the call went to voicemail, and she left a message describing the strange woman and what had happened. I know it's late, but I thought you should know about this. It might be nothing, but after everything that's happened, I can't ignore it. Please call me back when you can. After ending the call, Olivia returned to her laptop, but found it hard to focus on the comments and messages. Her mind kept drifting back to the mysterious woman outside. Was she someone who knew something about Sophia's disappearance? Or was she connected to the unknown man in the video? As the night deepened, Olivia forced herself to try to sleep, though her mind raced with questions. Lying in bed, she stared at the ceiling, her thoughts a chaotic mix of hope from the new evidence and fear of what it might mean. Just before dawn, Olivia finally drifted into a fitful sleep filled with dreams of shadowy figures and her daughter's pleading voice calling out for help. When the first rays of sunlight began to peek through the curtains, Olivia jolted awake, disoriented as the events of the previous day flooded back to her in a rush. The necklace, the video footage, and the mysterious woman outside her house. Everything swirled in her mind as she struggled to fully wake up. Glancing at the clock, she realized she had only managed to sleep for a couple of hours, but there was no time to waste. She needed to get to the police station to see if there were any updates on the necklace or the video footage. As she got dressed, her mind raced with possibilities. Had anyone recognized the man in the video? Had the police found any fingerprints on the necklace? And what about the woman she had seen outside her house last night? Grabbing a quick cup of coffee, Olivia headed out the door, her body running on adrenaline and determination. Almost immediately, as she walked towards her car, movement at the far end of her street caught her eye. Her heart nearly stopped as she recognized the same elderly woman from the previous night, unmistakably watching her house once more. This time, Olivia did not hesitate. She immediately began walking towards the woman, calling out, "Excuse me, I need to speak with you." The woman appeared startled, her eyes widening as she realized Olivia was approaching. Hastily, she began to walk away, her movements stiff and hurried. But Olivia was quicker. She caught up to the woman, speaking in a firm yet polite tone. "Please, I just want to talk. Who are you? Why have you been watching my house?" Now up close, the elderly woman appeared to be in her late 70s, her face deeply lined, her silver hair neatly combed back. She seemed torn between fleeing and speaking. Her mouth opened and closed as if struggling to find the right words. Finally, in a barely audible whisper, the woman said, I saw the pictures online." The girl. Olivia's heart raced as she cried out, "My daughter, Sophia. Do you know something about her?" The woman's composure crumbled, and tears filled her eyes as she whispered, I think the man who took your daughter is my son." Olivia froze, her mind reeling from this unexpected revelation. The woman continued, her voice heavy with shame and fear. "His name is Marcus Bennett. He was released from prison 6 months ago. He served time for attempting to lure a young girl from an online dating platform." Olivia's hands shook as she reached for her phone, her eyes never leaving the woman's face. "What's your name?" she asked, her voice surprisingly steady despite the turmoil inside her. "Evelyn Carter," the woman replied softly. As Olivia dialed Detective Thompson's number once more, she kept her other hand on Evelyn's arm to ensure she would not try to leave. When the detective answered, Olivia quickly explained the situation, her words tumbling out in a rush. Within minutes, several police cars arrived at the scene. Evelyn appeared cooperative yet deeply distressed, repeatedly apologizing and saying she had hoped her son had changed after prison. Detective Thompson arrived shortly after, his face grim as he approached both Olivia and Evelyn. "We need to move quickly," he said. "Mrs. Carter, we're going to need you to take us to your son's residence immediately." As they drove to Marcus Bennett's house, Olivia's mind was in turmoil. They were closer than ever to finding Sophia, but the reality of what her daughter might have endured at the hands of this man was almost too much to bear. When they arrived at the small, run-down property on the outskirts of town, Olivia saw several police cars already there. Detective Thompson had dispatched units to the address, and soon an officer approached their car as they pulled up. The officer said, "Detective, we found one of Sophia's shoes inside the house during our preliminary search. It confirms we're on the right track, but neither Marcus nor the girl are in the residence." Olivia felt her heart sink. They were so close, yet Sophia was still out of reach. Turning to Evelyn, who was looking at the empty garage with a mixture of fear and resignation, Evelyn said quietly, "Marcus owns an old blue pickup truck. It's not here. He must have fled with the girl after seeing his image on the news and social media." Detective Thompson pressed Evelyn for more information, his voice urgent but controlled. "Mrs. Carter, we need to know everything about your son's history, anything that might help us find him." Evelyn's composure crumbled, tears streaming down her face as she revealed more about Marcus's troubled past. He's been in trouble before," she whispered, recalling that a few years ago, he had lured a young girl through an online dating platform and taken her to a secluded area in a forest, but thankfully, the police had caught him before he could harm her. The officers exchanged grim looks as they quickly verified Evelyn's information against Marcus's criminal record. Within minutes, everything she had said was confirmed. Detective Thompson immediately began issuing orders, mobilizing search units to focus on nearby forests, especially Blackwater Forest, which was closest to their current location. As the activity swirled around her, Olivia stood still, her eyes fixed on Marcus Bennett's house, knowing that somewhere out there, her daughter was with this man, scared and alone. Determination filled her as she whispered, "We're coming, Sophia. Just hold on a little longer. We're coming to bring you home." The next hour passed in a blur of activity. Olivia found herself sitting in a police car outside Marcus's house, watching as officers searched the property and coordinated with search teams over their radios. The air was thick with tension, every minute feeling like an eternity as they awaited news. Beside her, Evelyn sat with a mask of shame and sorrow. In quiet, halting words, Evelyn began to share fragments of Marcus's troubled childhood and history of untreated mental health issues. "I thought prison had changed him," she murmured in a barely audible voice. "I wanted to believe he could be better. I never imagined he would." Her voice trailed off, unable to complete the thought, while Olivia found it difficult to look at her. Even though this woman had raised the man who had taken Sophia, Olivia recognized that without Evelyn's courage in coming forward, they might never have gotten this close to finding her daughter. Meanwhile, road cameras along all major routes leading out of Elder Fork had been alerted to look for Marcus's blue pickup truck. Olivia watched as officers relayed information about possible sightings, each report causing a momentary surge of hope before being dismissed as a false lead. Patrol units were dispatched to set up roadblocks at key intersections, their flashing lights speeding away from the scene, while other officers went door to door in the surrounding neighborhoods, showing Marcus's picture and asking if anyone had seen him or his vehicle. Meanwhile, K-9 units were being prepared for deployment. These highly trained dogs would be crucial in tracking Sophia's scent through the dense undergrowth of Blackwater Forest. Overhead, a helicopter thundered as its searchlight swept across the treetops, beginning an aerial survey of the forest. The pilot's voice crackled over the radio, reporting on clearings and abandoned structures that the ground teams should investigate. Detective Thompson approached the car, his face etched with determination. "We're leaving no stone unturned," he assured Olivia. "Every available resource is being utilized. We're going to find her." As Olivia watched this massive operation unfold, she felt a mix of hope and fear. The scale of the search was impressive, a testament to how seriously the police were taking Sophia's case, but it also underscored the urgency of the situation and the dangers her daughter might be facing. Minutes ticked by agonizingly slowly, and Olivia's eyes darted between the officers and her phone, silently willing it to ring with news of Sophia. Each time an officer approached the car, she held her breath, hoping for an update. After what felt like an eternity, but was actually about 20 minutes, Olivia noticed an officer receiving information over the radio. His expression shifted, and he looked in her direction with an intensity that made her heart race. The officer then opened the car door and said carefully, "Mrs. Turner, they found Sophia alive. AK-9 unit located her and Marcus in a remote area of Blackwater Forest, and Marcus has been taken into custody." In that moment, Olivia felt the world tilt around her. She heard the words, but they seemed distant, as if coming from far away. Sophia was alive. They had found her after 2 months of fear and uncertainty. Tears streamed down Olivia's face as the reality of the situation hit her. She thought, barely registering Evelyn's gasp or the officer's gentle hand on her shoulder. They're bringing Sophia to the police station now. The officer continued. Medical personnel are waiting there to examine her. We can take you there immediately. Olivia nodded, unable to form words, as they drove to the station. Her mind raced with 1,000 questions. Was Sophia hurt? What had she endured during these 2 months? How would this experience affect her? The drive to the station felt both endless and far too short. Olivia wasn't sure if she was ready to face the reality of what had happened to her daughter, but she was desperate to hold Sophia in her arms again. As they pulled up to the station, Olivia saw an ambulance parked outside, its flashing lights causing her heart to clench with a mix of fear and relief. She practically ran from the car to the station entrance, her legs weak and unsteady. Inside the station, there was a flurry of activity as officers and medical personnel moved quickly, their voices a low hum of urgency. In the midst of it all, Olivia stood searching desperately for any sign of Sophia. Then, suddenly, there she was. Sophia appeared at the end of the hallway, escorted by a female officer and a paramedic. Though she looked small and fragile, with dirty clothes and tangled hair, she was alive. When her eyes met Olivia's, it was as if the world stood still. "Mom!" Sophia cried out, her voice breaking. Olivia rushed forward, gathering her daughter into her arms and holding her tightly as Sophia's small body shook with sobs. Olivia's own tears flowed freely as she stroked her daughter's hair, murmuring words of comfort and love. "I'm here, baby. You're safe now. I've got you." In that moment, Olivia was keenly aware of the whirlwind of emotions surging through her. Relief and joy at having Sophia back, mingled with anger at what her daughter had endured and fear of the long road to recovery that lay ahead. Yet, in that moment, all that mattered was that Sophia was alive and in her arms, determined to help her daughter heal, to protect and support her through whatever came next. Olivia silently vowed that they would face every challenge together. As the medical staff gently approached to begin their examination, Olivia held Sophia's hand tightly and promised, "I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to get through this together." Sophia nodded, her grip on her mother's hand tightening as they moved forward. In the midst of the reunion, Detective Thompson approached with a mixture of relief and concern on his face. He gently explained that Olivia needed to speak with him privately, adding, "Sophia will be with our child psychologist and social worker. They're specially trained to handle situations like this. We'll make sure she's comfortable and safe while we talk." Though hesitant to let her daughter out of her sight, even for a moment, Olivia knew it was necessary. She knelt down to Sophia's eye level, cupping her daughter's face gently, and said, "Sweetheart, I need to talk to Detective Thompson for a little while. These nice people will stay with you, and I promise I'll be back as soon as I can. You're safe now, Sophia." With wide, frightened eyes, Sophia whispered, "Promise you'll come back." And Olivia firmly replied, "I promise. I'm not going far. I love you so much." With a heavy heart, Olivia watched as Sophia was led away by the caring social worker. She then turned to Detective Thompson, summoning all her strength for what was to come. They walked together to a small interview room where Detective Thompson's face grew grave as he sat down with her. Olivia could feel the weight of what was coming pressing down on her. "Olivia," Detective Thompson began in a gentle yet serious tone, "I know this is incredibly difficult, but there are some things we need to discuss about what happened to Sophia during her captivity." Olivia's throat tightened as she nodded. "I understand. Please, just tell me." Taking a deep breath, the detective continued. "Marcus Bennett has confessed to abducting Sophia from her grandmother's backyard. His confession contains some disturbing information that you need to be aware of." Olivia's heart raced and her palms sweated. She wanted to cover her ears, to run from the terrible truth that was about to unfold, yet she forced herself to listen for Sophia's sake. "While we won't go into every detail right now," Detective Thompson said with compassion in his voice, Marcus has admitted to inappropriate conduct with Sophia during her captivity. We will need your strength and cooperation as we build our case for prosecution." The words hit Olivia like a physical blow. She had feared something like this, had nightmares about it, but hearing it confirmed was devastating. "What do you mean by inappropriate?" she managed to ask in a whisper. Detective Thompson shook his head gently and replied, "We don't have all the details yet, and we don't want to push Sophia too hard right now. The most important thing is that she's safe and that we'll ensure she gets all the support and help she needs." Olivia nodded numbly, her mind reeling. How could anyone do such a thing to an innocent child, to her child? The anger and pain threatened to overwhelm her. Seeing her distress, Detective Thompson leaned forward earnestly and said, "Olivia, I know this is incredibly difficult to hear, but I want you to know that we have victim advocates and child psychologists ready to support both you and Sophia through this process. With proper support, children can recover from even the most traumatic experiences." Olivia took a shaky breath, trying to center herself, and asked, "What do I do now? How do I help her?" The detective advised, "The most important thing is to be there for her. Let her know she's safe, that she's loved, and that what happened wasn't her fault. We'll provide you with resources and support to help guide you through this process." As they continued discussing the next steps in the investigation and the available support services, Olivia felt a strange mix of emotions. The joy of having Sophia back was now tempered by the knowledge of what her daughter had endured. But underneath it all was a steely determination. No matter what it took, she would help Sophia heal from this trauma. When the conversation concluded, Olivia, though standing on shaky legs, asked, "Can I see Sophia now?" Detective Thompson nodded and led her back to where Sophia was waiting with the social worker. Rejoining her daughter, Olivia looked at Sophia with new eyes. The weariness, confusion, and fear that now clouded her once bright expression were painfully evident. Yet beneath the trauma, Olivia could glimpse the resilience and strength that had allowed her daughter to survive such a harrowing ordeal. Embracing Sophia tightly, Olivia silently promised that no matter how long or difficult the journey ahead might be, she would do whatever it took to help her daughter heal and reclaim her life. Recognizing the need for a brief respite from the whirlwind of emotions and activity, the social worker suggested that they take a break outside the station. As Olivia, Sophia, and the social worker stood together in the cool evening air, a familiar figure approached them. It was Gregory Adams, the part janitor whose attentiveness had played such a crucial role in Sophia's rescue. Having heard the news of Sophia's safe return, Gregory had come to the station to see how they were doing. Olivia's eyes welled with tears as she saw him. Without hesitation, she embraced Gregory, her voice thick with emotion as she said, "Thank you. Without your attentiveness and compassion, we might never have found Sophia." Gregory patted her back gently and replied, "I'm just glad I could help," his kind eyes then moving to Sophia, who watched the interaction with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. After a few moments of conversation in which Olivia expressed her profound gratitude, she turned to Sophia and said gently, "We need to go back inside now, sweetie. We need to talk to the officers again, but it will all be over soon, and then we can go home together." Sophia nodded, her small hand reaching out to hold Olivia's as they walked back into the station. Crossing the lobby, Olivia noticed a hunched figure approaching them. It was Evelyn Carter, her face downcast and her shoulders slumped, etched with a map of shame and regret. Evelyn's voice trembled as she spoke. "I'm so sorry for what my son did to your little girl. I thought he had changed. I never thought he would." Her voice trailed off, choked with emotion, and Olivia found it difficult even to look at her. Despite the deep pain, Olivia recognized that without Evelyn's courage in coming forward, they might never have gotten this close to finding Sophia. After a brief moment's hesitation, Olivia nodded and said in a steady voice, "It's not your fault what your son did. Thank you for coming forward when you did." Evelyn wiped away tears and, with a stronger voice, promised, "I'll cooperate fully with the police, and in court, I'll tell them everything I know about my son Marcus. I want him to face justice for what he did to your daughter. He's sick, and he needs help, but he also needs to pay for what he's done." As the group began to separate, an officer approached them and explained that they were preparing an interview room to finalize their statements. The officer suggested that Olivia and Sophia wait in the designated waiting area with the social worker until everything was ready. In the waiting room, with Sophia curling up against her mother's side, Olivia's thoughts wandered to the necklace, the crucial piece that had led to everything. Gently stroking her daughter's hair, she asked softly, "Sophia, do you know how your necklace ended up on that statue's hand in the park?" Sophia tensed slightly at the question, her voice small and hesitant as she replied, "He told me he is a friend of yours and that you were in the park. We got ice cream, but then he became angry. He took the necklace from me and threw it away." Olivia's heart clenched as she realized that somehow the necklace must have ended up on the statue. And as she looked down at Sophia's face, she felt an overwhelming sense that this was not mere coincidence. The park janitor noticing the necklace, Evelyn seeing the Facebook post, all of it had come together so perfectly to save Sophia. It seemed almost guided by something beyond mere chance. Soon, the officer returned, informing them that the interview room was ready. As they stood to follow him, Olivia made a silent vow to do everything in her power to help her daughter heal from this horrific ordeal. Walking towards the interview room, she was struck by a chilling realization. Predators like Marcus Bennett lurked everywhere, hiding behind normal appearances while harboring monstrous intentions. In that moment, with terrifying clarity, she understood how close she had come to never seeing her daughter again. With her arm protectively around Sophia's shoulders, Olivia walked toward the interview room, profoundly grateful for her daughter's return, yet acutely aware of the long, difficult journey of healing that lay ahead for both of them. Inside the room, after taking a deep breath and steeling herself for what was to come, Olivia listened as Detective Thompson began to outline the next steps. The conversation was heavy with the promise of justice and the need for unwavering support, both from the police and from the community. When the interview concluded, Olivia was guided back to where Sophia waited with the social worker. Observing her daughter now, Olivia saw not only the weariness, confusion, and fear clouding Sophia's once bright expression, but also the resilience and inner strength that had allowed her to survive such a harrowing ordeal. As they prepared to leave the station, the social worker suggested that they take a short break outside to collect themselves. In the cool night air, with the weight of the day's events slowly settling, Olivia embraced Sophia tightly and whispered, "No matter how long or difficult the journey ahead might be, I will do whatever it takes to help you heal and reclaim your life." With renewed determination and the support of the police, the community, and the caring individuals who had come forward, including Gregory Adams and even Evelyn Carter, Olivia felt a glimmer of hope that together they could overcome the darkness of the past and move toward a future filled with healing, justice, and love. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great stories like this one. Share this video with your friends and family, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned for our next video, and check out others you might have missed. See you next time.